Hi, I'm Cynthia Atwood. I'm an artist living in New Marlborough, Massachusetts, and I'm currently showing at AVA Gallery with the abstract painter Mark Lorah. And I'm happy to find a visual rhythm of abstraction between our two bodies of work. Now, what comes first for me when I make is I'm attracted to materials. I want to pick them up. I want to find out what they can do. Do they look good? Is the curve look good this way? That could just be a stick on the ground. Does the curve look good the other way? I look at the swap shack at the dump to see if there's anything that could be a good skeleton, a good armature for a piece. And I like handling things. So I am first and foremost in a body relationship with this thing I'm making. I'm sensitive to how the fabric can stretch or um, pucker, and maybe I want it to pucker. And so I find out what the fabric can do, the body of the fabric. And my body wants to be in relationship with another body, which is why I make things instead of paintings, I think. And so the work in this show is from the early 2000s, and I unpacked it and was happy to find that I thought the work was still valid. And that was great. And it was a treat to see things again that had been packed away. So there's a piece here called Sister, and it's a feminine piece and a feminist piece. And it could be, it's because it's fruitful. It has two globes. Are those fruits? Are those breasts? It really doesn't matter to me how that's viewed, but it's like globes of light, globes of uh, scent. And there's a plastic bee in one of the globes, and that is my sister's hair that is fringing the tops. And I think of it's feminist in the sense that it represents female, but also there is a yoke of bittersweet connecting the two globes. So those are the subtleties of the piece for me, and I loved combining sheer pink chiffon with wood. Somehow that uh, struck me as a good juxtaposition. And so I think there's a lot of that for me in my work. What materials, how to make the materials speak best. Is it by continuity or is it by juxtaposition? And another piece in the show called My Monkey was made from a pencil drawing that my late husband gave to me. And he said, I think you should make this. And he also probably did point his finger. And I did make it. And I chose a tweedy knit cloth reminiscent of those dolls that were made out of socks, that were monkey dolls that had big red mouth and white feet and white hands. And I thought of those dolls. And my late husband was my monkey. So that all fits together. But if you're looking at the piece and you're wondering if he had a club foot, he did not have a club foot, but that's kind of a very touchable, tender cartoon character creature. Uh, that seems accurate. And looking back at my life, I see that, my parents were makers. My father was a woodworker and a painter, and my mother sewed. And she made every party dress I ever wore to a dance, and she was involved in making things for me for a long time in my life. I'd go, Mom, could you make this? Could you sew it just like this? And instructing my mother. And so she said one day, Cynthia, this is how you use the machine. And so that was a huge turning point. Not only do I now make my living from making custom draperies and textiles, but I have a studio practice that is sewing. if it's sewing with wood or sewing with fabric or sewing shells into fabric, it's all of those things. So I love having a daylight side of the skill that is conventional in the world. And then I have the more surprising side that happens in the studio. And with the same skill, the dark and the light, that really feels whole to me and integrated. And I think that I love to be surprised in the studio. I can't say that's always true in real life, but the studio is that place, and maybe that can teach me more about being surprised in life. It's a possibility. And I think that I really have a love of ambiguity and oddity, um, and like a puzzlement that I provide for myself or for the viewer, like, what is that? Or how could that be? Or what does that mean? And I really enjoy that. I think it's a forward motion. I think it's good for the brain, and it's a valid point to the work. That's it.
This series of paintings that I'm showing at the AVA Gallery are kind of all trying to create some kind of modular but holistic objectness, sort of some kind of a unified field. They're not really, hopefully they're not really reducible to kind of individual things. The whole painting is a thing, if that makes sense. I use these kind of rounded, blobular, quasi-biological shapes throughout. I don't want a sort of authoritarian grid, but I want sort of a all-over systems, something like nature is, I guess. I use a lot of collage of different things, a lot of felt and other things. There's different, can't really see that probably, there's some meshes and whatever kind of textile might come my way, I'll grab. I'm always looking for new materials. So collage is kind of a way to radically transform the painting quickly and easily, and provides a lot of strong juxtaposition. At the same time that I want the juxtaposition, I'm also trying to again create this integrated field. I do see this process as somewhat like evolution, I guess. It's much more bottom up than top down. It's sort of it's a logical process, but it doesn't know where it's going. The material, the variety of material is about, often about how the paint is sort of provoked into behaving differently. Some material is absorbent and it'll enhance the color and the paint will bleed, and some material is resistant and the paint will glide across. the edges of collage material on the surface are something that the paint will butt up against or bump over. All these things are fascinating to me. Yeah, that's all about the surface. I often started painting by working on the computer. I'll do some loose drawings of patterns. Usually Adobe Illustrator is what I use, and these are not finished drawings in any way. They're just references of patterns that I want to use and provide a way to sort of map out the composition broadly and to set a sense of scale to the painting. I will often sometimes I'll project that onto a canvas and build up a base pattern, and then I'll sort of layer that. I'll keep going with other layers of patterns, and try to follow the intention of the original drawing, or at least the sort of what I think is the intention, the sort of the flow of it, the energy of it, and eventually what happens typically in producing one of these is that the structure becomes ascendant. It becomes almost dominant, and the interest of these paintings is really kind of an order versus chaos tension. And so I will typically reach a point where things are getting way too tight, getting into a corner, and at which point I get a little bugged, and I have this impulse to destroy the thing, and I'll do some act of sabotage when I can't stand it anymore, and then I'll sort of feel good about that, and then I will regret it, and then and I'll try and work my way back. So sort of like give up the mission, and then try and find the way back. And then the thing is, you can never find the way back, and that is sort of a critical transformation in the creative process, to sort of give up that initial conception that is conceptual, that is an idea, and to arrive at some place you didn't know you were going to be, and is a real physical event.